Hey scholars, it's Miss Marnon. I'm going to give you a crash course in the standard 7.NS.1d. So this standard is actually all about properties of adding and subtracting. So really we're just kind of taking adding and subtracting and we're throwing them into one big problem. So what I've noticed about a lot of these state test questions is either they're going to straight up ask you about the properties, and that's a performance level 4 question. So if you can answer directly about the properties, so we're talking about commutative, so that's switching the order. Or we can talk about associative. So that's when we do the grouping with parentheses. And there's some other properties we talk about, but we talk a lot about commutative and associative. We're going to talk more about some other properties later. We've talked about 4 main properties. We talked about additive inverse. And we've also talked about additive identity. Adding opposites, so like 3 and -3. So if I do 3 plus -3, it equals 0. That was standard 7.NS.1a. And then additive identity is when you add 0 and the number doesn't change. So those are some of the properties. Those would be performance level 4 questions. So that means if you get one of those questions right on the state test, it automatically kind of puts you at a higher ranking already. So we like to know about our properties. The other thing is we'll get asked a lot of questions that is just straight calculations. So the trick to these is to write them exactly as they appear. So if I have something that looks like, let's write it out. If it looks like 0.7 minus a half divided by 3, you can type that into your calculator exactly how you see it on here. So on the Desmos calculator, I can put in that parentheses, so parentheses 0.7 minus a half. So minus to type a fraction. Oh, and look, I'm already out of the parentheses. I need to stay in them. Minus 1/2 divided by 3. So we can close the parentheses, divided by 3. And I do know on our Desmos calculator, it automatically will turn division into this fraction. On our other calculators that we use in school, it won't. And it'll tell you the answer. So I got 0.06 repeating. If I want, I can change it to a fraction. It's 1/15. If you want something to look like this on the yellow calculators, you can start by typing it as a fraction, and you can do that on Desmos as well. So for this standard, the big trick is to know that you can type it exactly how you see it on your calculator. Make sure how it looks is how it was written, and then put in your answer. So that's the big trick to this standard.